Yes, he is. What is the current time for me?
It's the eye time. Eyes.
Gotta wait a minute.
Practically sniffing down my neck.
Take the goddamn vitamins.
Wow, game, your energy really have no chill.
Did you take the vitamins?
I just run away from the eyeball person. Straight to another eyeball person. Straight to scream.
What the fuck?
Wait. Wait on.
Yes?
Got my room.
You almost beat it.
No. Oh, it has a rare chance to replace Rush when spawning in.
What does?
So he just got very unlucky.
Seriously. The end is never the end. It's never the end, is Logan.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stan was employee number
Ambush.
427. Employee number...
I got an achievement called Welcome Back.
Oh, survive ambush. Woo!
Hide, Logan.
All of his co-workers were gone. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy? Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks? Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times.
Lights, Logan.
I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
My God, yes. Who are you? You again. Bring it.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is a key. What do you want me to do with the game? What for What do you want me to do with the key? Oh.
Does it want you to go past him?
No, it's what me to do is. Turn on the elevator's power. Oh. That means the elevator's powered?
Hopefully.
Right, I'm powered. No, it means I fucked up.
Shit. Remember when you and me played a Roblox game and then I killed you on accident?
My adrenaline. It's not healthy for adrenaline to be this high.
It doesn't?
No.
But my adrenaline doesn't usually that high.
I did it wrong. I did it wrong. I get it. I did it wrong. Do that again.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Eight's good. 6 is good. 4 is good. 3 is good. Okay, nailed that one. 7, 3, 4.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an unraveled. Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Against the elevator.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway. Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Oh, there's an ending for that?
Yeah, you know the elevator when you like doing the ending you're currently doing. You know that elevator you have to go up and down. You have to go up.
Yep.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Yeah. Going up
Whoops.
and down,
Nope.
up and down.
Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Yeah, I always felt the ending actually. Should I go again?
Can't go back down.
Should have won. They can just step back out, go back into your boss's office.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat. Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen,
I have not
how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Oh, when you get the bucket, go into the broom closet. You get a sticker.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
But hey, I know how to counter everything, so this shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
Says to himself in a sarcastic manner.
People are watching my stream now.
Oh my god. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
Please wait.
Moses, please hold.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
He realised that big nail hole.
Yeah.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview, of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling.
What if you cheat in the Stanley parable?
And repetitive.
You can't. As soon as you turn SV cheats on, you're just like, nah.
Time to go back up. Don't you agree, Logan?
Hold on, let's stop for a minute. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, The agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill.
Save the vitamins. They
Oh,
don't
I
even
simply
feel
don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we
Elevator.
take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know,
No, he's
Stanley,
making my
it
elevator
seems like
be slow.
nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments
he's like,
flung
I'll
right
make
in
your
their
elevator
faces
so slow
the
you
very
can't even
moment
move
that things
anywhere.
get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust
fall
in
to
the
the bottom
audience
of the
to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters?
Okay.
Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know
I know
it,
people that
which is
call
why
libraries
we're so
libraries.
starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to
Well,
you.
just said
Which is
I'm
why...
actually even
Oh, I didn't
spawning
know when to
at you.
spring this on you, but... Well, I've gathered a little press
Wait,
conference
no,
for
no.
you. So that you can talk about
What,
your
Logan?
work and your storytelling and your life.
I don't have any
Yes,
more
I
dollars,
know
so I
you're
can't
not
get
much
flash
for the
on you.
public eye, but I thought it would
No.
especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning.
bullshit.
They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the
like that.
impact you have
You
on them.
shouldn't.
This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
Press conference? Wait, can I go back down the elevator? Do I have to go down the elevator more?
Really going up and down. Are you still going up and down the elevator?
No, I'm at a place called
no, this
press
is the end.
conference.
No, that's the ending.
Oh, okay. No, if you're knowing me. Can I go back down the elevator? Are you still pure going up and down the elevator? I know, I'm at the press conference. Oh, that's the ending. Oh, okay.
Ah, yes, here it is, just
Minecraft
through this
Yeah, it's a very
door.
good press conference.
All right, are you ready?
Welcome,
I've told them
Stanley.
you're going to speak a little bit about the
Stanley
nature of
Ryder.
surprise in storytelling and what it
Almonds,
means to craft a
pear,
truly
gum,
unpredictable
table, nut
narrative.
bars.
Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley.
Since I've got your stream muted, I
Okay,
just see you
it looks
stare
like
at it
they're
for a
ready
bit,
for
look
you.
around and then
Go
just
get 'em.
give up.
POV, you're playing the Stanley Parable with one hand because you're bored. Yeah. I died.
Well, I died.
Yeah. What the fuck? Oh, no, I didn't get to play this press conference.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Yeah.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
How many endings are in this game?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I got more than 3 though.
Maybe 4.
Yet there was not
I'm
a single
pretty
person
sure I
here
have more than
either.
4.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might come into a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
There's an ending for falling out of the mind control facility.
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility.
Got it.
Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours. So here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more content, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to cross this barrier and chase your dreams. Railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another
Apparently I'm
human
being
life,
mind controlled.
for he would
Do I turn
dismantle
on
the
and off the
controls
system
once
power?
and for all.
Keep turning it on and off. It's correct, Stanley.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going. What all this means, I barely know where to start. What's that?
There's over here 3.
You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you.
No.
Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge, it's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
So, if someone avoiding you this perfectly, like, what would you do?
Cry.
Break down into tears.
Yes.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Damaged me is like a bunch of spiders.
Yeah.
And this fucker
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I even have time to look at it. I'm falling in along with my day.
Here's the door, just go.
I got the dying ending.
There's multiple endings where Stanley dies.
The one where he blows you
Stanley
up.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Wait, that's an ending?
Yeah, you know that elevator, elevator.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Yeah.
What horrible secret did this place hold?
Yeah, if you step onto
Stanley
that
thought to
and
himself.
step off,
Did he have the strength to find out?
Is that an actual ending?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature
427.
revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building.
Not yet.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley,
When he runs around going,
eternally
"What
wanted
am
this place
I?"
where
and
freedom
questioning
meant
himself.
Nothing.
No. Everything.
Damn.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over a...
Wait, I have a question, Logan.
What's the question, Quentin?
Is the narrator what Kai based his personality off of?
Blackness.
I
And
knew
the
it.
rising chill of
I knew they both
uncertainty.
sounded extremely
Was
stupid.
it over?
I only know number 2.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone?
Killed
How
them.
had he been freed from the machine's
You freed me.
grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold?
There's
But
none.
as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power
Later,
that
nerd.
he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
So why did
No
Finley say
longer
it
would
was
anyone
fuck
tell
time?
him where to go, what to do, or how to feel.
Yo,
Whatever
what?
life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only
I didn't
thing
know what you
worth
said.
knowing. Stanley
budget
stepped
slicings.
through the open door.
Why'd you get rid of your teacher? Budget slicing.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation,
An answer. What
the
happened to our
immense
stage
possibility of
budget
the
cuts?
new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant
Hey
to
Logan,
happen.
can you believe the tiebreaker was
Stanley
come up with
was
by
happy.
Profile Lee?
You're not new when you're hungry. Have enough.
Oh no, not nut. Out of context, everything we say sounds so bad out of context.
How wonderful. Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted.
New content?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Take me to the content. I need to become big on YouTubes.
Don't waste all your jumps.
Why?
That would be a bad thing to do.
Yo, Logan.
Save some jumps.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable
Logan.
Ultra Deluxe.
Benjamin
As you
is
may
on
know,
the server
Stanley
and
Parable
living.
was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
John, can you go away now?
No.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
I think.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
It is. Logan, do we get a bucket?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. Impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Me and Roy making a video with you in it. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Logan.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. It's...
Waiting for my
The
next
jump
class.
circle?
Ooh.
Huh. I can't stick my hand and make it small.
Stop.
Wait, Logan, did you say not to use all my jumps?
Don't use them all, yeah.
Okay. I left
Is-
14.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
A monster.
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else.
Yeah.
Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Yeah.
What would happen if they had hit 4 million? Like if they were before 4 million.
That's it?
And they hit
Oh,
4
you've
million,
got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley?
I don't
This is
know.
what happens when greedy video game
Logan.
developers with no
You know Inanimate Insanity.
Yep.
They lost 3 of their main people because one of them was racist and 2 of them were saying what he did was fine.
Now that's got them.
And you wanna know who's one of those people?
Racism is not others.
It is not. But you wanna know who one of the people that they got rid of was? One of the main artists, voice actors, and creators.
Oh. Oh.
Yep. You wanna know who the characters the guy voiced was? OJ, Bo, Toilet. I can't think of the others. But I can't believe they got rid of Toilet's voice actor.
His last book.
respect for their fan base, rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable.
Not Twitter.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks, just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Oh, yeah. Twitter.
For instance, there was one where it was, that was what I saw, it was Stanley Parable, too many guns.
Psst! Stanley!
2,
Come over here!
3,
In the vent! I want to show you something!
I smell content.
2339 hits.
2339 piss. Damn.
I'm missing.
Nobody's taking me to
you remember
content.
how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Demonetization. Logan? The Stanley Parable, demonetization. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Unachievable. It is impossible to get this achievement. God fucking
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
I can.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley?
You can't
The
disagree,
game
Logan. That's
was perfect.
football game. It's the
It didn't
funniest
need
game we've
anything
ever
else.
played.
It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
What, Logan?
Not even like the real pro players take me off because they don't play Roblox.
Yep, I can't. Let me to the serious room.
These were simpler times, Stanley. What I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the Memory Zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh, no. Oh, God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't
People
even
when they
imagine
call
where I'd
players
have to
unfunny.
really stick them. Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button?
Me.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of... Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks.
Keep pressing the button.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about our...
I mean, the narrator pisses us off. Why can't we piss him off?
Oh.
Why pisses us off because we piss him off? Huh.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain...
Listen, I know it says she left me roses by the bed. What about murderous eyeballs?
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Summon you? I just mentioned murderous eyeballs.
Yes. She left me murderous eyeballs by the stairs.
Oh, you take... I got have a light source.
Hide her.
Wait. Oh, these... yeah, it's dead.
Stanley Parable becomes uncanny.
I did it at a time. Great. Get a flashlight now.
Nice.
I'll make it look both ways if he's practically breathing down his neck.
All of his co-workers were
Magic.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Damn, that was suck.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable
Timothy did
and about
attack
how
you,
roundly
Logan.
disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
What? Oh, I'm looking. Oh!
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Yeah.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course,
Too big,
the first
too
and most
small,
obvious
just right.
answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it.
My name is Jim.
Here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, Forget whoever you are and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself
My
living
name
as
is
Jim,
Jim.
sleeping and
I'm
waking.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim, and finally dying a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Call your first son that greasy chum lord.
Jim.
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Jim.
Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If
Wait,
this
my
were the
name's not
only
Jim, it's
new
Quentin.
feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button.
Wait, what? No.
I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal value. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
No, the Jim button. That'd be funny.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the... Yes, it will go at the end of the... well, we'll figure that out later.
Wait, it's 11?
What?
They are Flippy and Floppy. Yeah. The Infinity Hole. Wait, do I go for the Infinity Hole or if we knew plus easy trophies?
Infinity Hole first.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, did you have all your... Did you use the last jump?
No.
Just, what you, like...
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap fall.
Okay.
You see? Isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now
Hey,
then,
Mum.
since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Logan would like some liquor.
Too bad you see him.
Okay.
Anything?
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the
Hurry up.
teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
Nothing.
Okay.
7.
John's gonna be home.
Okay.
I'm not going to set. They canceled Grandma's appointment.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully,
This
but
is
it's
the main reason
possible
why
that
I'm
I
moving out.
slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the
I'm
hole.
not even joking, my
Is it a
stepdad's the
very,
main reason
very
why I'm
deep
moving out.
hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, Things got a little heated there. I think we
On the
both
bright
said
side,
some
that's
things
probably
we
so
didn't mean.
terrified of what he's
Why
doing
don't
to
we
me,
just
he's
put
going
all
to
this
want to
behind us and
Oh,
agree
that's
to
right,
just
stop that.
call the whole mostly infinite?
No, except
If that works for you,
My
then go
stepdad
ahead and
threatened to
press
hit
the
me with a
teleport
hammer a
button
few years
to
ago.
walk up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up
Trap.
here when you're ready.
True.
Great. Now, I'm very... Oh, for heaven... You see, I was right. The problem is you.
Not crap.
The problem is that you like holes
Yes,
too
he is.
much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of...
It was number 2.
Did the hole seem even shorter to you this time? I couldn't help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole.
I know.
I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positively thrilled. Gosh, how could I have guessed? You're back in the hole. If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That sounds like
I'm starting to become extremely certain
Yes.
that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less and less infinite. I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length.
I want
Here,
to die.
let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shape. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Already? Gee, you're a bit mad after I've beaten you so many times.
Is the
Like, you've been happy at me
teleport
just when
button
my
not working?
floor 100 like a douchebag.
You sure? Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. It was working just a moment ago. Try it again.
My rhythm game skills come in handy.
Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Oop, I'll just wait.
Hola, Pepsi.
Wait, Logan, you've talked to my stepdad before. You wanna know why I'm saying that? He's the guy who said that Trump was making the law to get rid of all the terrorists and drug dealers, and he said, wait, are you calling all Mexicans terrorists? Yeah.
We're playing Pokemon.
Yep. Who does? Yes, he does.
I don't have to hold it.
Yo, what?
So And I'm dead.
Stanley? Stanley! Stanley! Oh, good, you're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single moment. So how about if I just pop in from time to time and wake you up to keep you really, truly focused on the hole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back.
Clint. I got the infinite hole ending.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new
I found one of my
features.
like really old, cringy Roblox accounts.
Yeah.
It was back when like, you know how most Roblox players have gone through a phase of, oh, roleplay games are quite fun.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was
Yeah.
that it was confusing and paradoxical,
Yeah, I
that
was
it
going
engendered a
through that.
chaotic sense of reckless despair in
My
those who played
God.
it. Well,
Some
I'm happy
memories
to say
came
that
back
after
to me
much
from some of the
consideration,
best times.
I've engineered a clever solution
And what were
to
those
this
messages?
fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable
was like
Reassurance
magic.
Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley
There's
Parable
role-playing
will
as
feel
well.
perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting.
Very much role-playing.
You may even come to long
okay,
for
yeah.
the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it?
Then what did
The
she do?
glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable too.
Ha.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Yeah.
For that 30-year-old man.
Not.
Huh.
It was about 8 years. I'm pretty sure they were your year.
Damn. Stanley Parable 2 trophies? Hell yeah.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm
Yeah.
developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified.
Yeah.
This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
I tried talking to one of my old friends on work. Only to check their profile and find out they haven't logged on in years.
What?
It's just like, if you think about it, you have all these people you talk to so much. I need to see left online.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen
Care
yet?
about them, it's upsetting to see.
Yep. The funniest thing is, I know you're always online on Discord, but whenever I look at your old PlayStation accounts, I'm like, huh, that was online 2 years ago. Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How long do you have to...
Eventually my PlayStation account is going to be boxed. Well, every now and again, look back and go like, that was power.
How long do I have to keep playing this lever to get the achievement?
Oh, you can't do it. But yeah.
Aww. But I have Bucket.
That's good. Okay, good.
The Bucket can help me kill the narrator. Am I correct, Logan?
Well, why not? I mean, you can kill the bucket if you go through the window.
No. Why would I kill Bucket?
It's an enemy.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
She says hi. I know.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward
worry,
for it.
Logan. I like Brandon. They're scared of the
Absolutely
British.
trap. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that... All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Bucket. Bucket. Bucket, bucket, bucket.
I remember watching it, so I wanted to classmate Fallout, right?
Yeah.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features
And then
together,
when my classmates
and
ring-
we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Wasn't the person I could draw Emma?
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of...
I took a
Okay, never mind.
screenshot, nerd.
Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. with care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
I took screenshots.
Change my mind. Being able to die to missing puts in this through this bullshit.
True.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company.
Bucket. No, my
All of his
bucket.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
In fact, we have two buckets technically.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Really? 2 buckets?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley
What
had felt the
happens?
bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Tell me.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
No.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
If you die holding the bucket, he tells you stuff with the bucket.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
You found one of them. One of the miniature
Yes.
Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic
Yeah.
pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
But what if I told you the main antagonist of this game isn't?
It isn't? Who is it then?
The bucket?
The bucket wouldn't betray me.
Lord.
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track.
Both genders can put the Pringles.
Nothing
Neither can do
feels
it well.
real anymore. The
How?
longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything
But no, don't
makes.
call it.
The sheer euphoria I
Still don't know
feel
how.
every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. It's my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me. What's that? Who's there?
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. Truly, being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey. The bucket... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
That makes
A
no
cargo
sense.
lift. Yeah, good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, but Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was first
Brother,
unthinking
because
he
he
did
hit his
whatever the
Ben
bucket asked.
locked you because he hit his brother.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket. This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him. The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from, me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is this awful bucket, this stupid hunk of metal. It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no, I'm having feelings for the bucket. No, no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes, the bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
What just happened? Bucket?
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
After I'm done getting this hunting, I'm gonna go ahead and end the game.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket.
Wait, what?
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Maybe.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
No.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket? Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Oh, Stanley, can Can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments.
This is my bucket.
Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
This is my bucket, not yours.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, Brew. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing presence of the... But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anlerines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anlerines. None of us can. The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Uh-oh.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Oh, bucket.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
No. No, it can't be. Am I the bad guy? Because I like a bucket?
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket. But there is something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
That's the end for this stream. Me and Bucket died.